Hey guys, my name's Cake and welcome back once again to Star or Shovelware, the channel that brings you reviews for the best and worst of those lesser known indie titles. As always, if you enjoy the review, please hit that like button and consider subscribing to the channel to be notified when future videos release. Today we're going to be taking a look at a game called Tower Inferno, and where do I begin with this one? Well, when I was checking it out on the store, the screenshots of the game looked very familiar, as it looked to be similar to one of those tower stacking mobile games that I remember were quite popular several years ago. The description of the game confirmed my suspicions, but one of the lines in it made me wonder if this game had some additional mechanics, as it read, "Stack this Tower Inferno as high as you can before it burns and falls over." Well, I suppose it's worth a review, I thought, and so I took the plunge and went ahead and bought the game. As we begin the game, we can see that the menu is very much like one you'd find on a mobile game. These big ass buttons are a perfect fit for chubby thumbs on a small mobile screen, and you can't just press left and right on the D-pad to switch stages, you have to actually move to the arrows and click them. So as you can see, to begin with we only have one stage unlocked and need to collect more stars on the previous stages to unlock new ones. The amount of stars still required is indicated by the number below each stage's image. So let's jump into the first stage and see what's on offer. Well, I can't say that I'm surprised, it's exactly the type of game I was expecting. Gameplay revolves around you stacking floors on top of each other to build the highest tower that you can. Every floor you stack increases your counter in the top right corner by 1, and in order to get 1 star on a stage, you only need to stack 20 floors. You have to time your placement of floors, as any slight misalignment will chop off part of the floor and reduce the size of your next floor. If you manage to stack a floor with perfect alignment, you won't lose any of the floor, but it'll make the next floor move faster and thus increase the difficulty of placing it. This repeats every time you make a perfect stack and returns to normal when you're next off with your alignment. And if you manage to make 5 perfect stacks in a row, some of your floor size will be restored. If you're going for 2 stars, then you'll need to stack 40 floors, and if you want 3, well, I've never actually managed that, but logically I'd have to assume that this would require a stack of 60 floors. As you can see by the gameplay, it's pretty straightforward, and I managed to stack 32 floors on my first try. Heading back to the main menu, the stage now showed 1 star next to it, and this meant I was able to play the second stage, which looked to be some sort of marble archway, and so I went ahead and started it. Upon beginning this stage, straight away I noticed that its frame rate was fucking terrible. Now, I had experienced a little of this on the first stage, but this second stage was even worse. When the main aim of the game is to try and line up a block perfectly with another block, having a dogshit frame rate really doesn't help. Aligning blocks is practically impossible and they just seem to snap in place when you press the A button. This is especially apparent when trying to get perfect stacks, as you end up having to press it before it gets anywhere near being aligned, and the faster the block is moving, the sooner you've got to press it. Also, the further up the stack you get, the worse it seems to lag. The movement of the block is just jittery as fuck, and it seems like it's running at about 10 frames per second. I mean, look at the graphics for fuck's sake. You're not telling me that the Nintendo Switch is incapable of rendering whatever this game throws at it when it has the ability to run Mario Odyssey and Mario Kart 8 at solid 60 frames per second the majority of the time? No, this is just shoddy programming and poor optimization. Anyway, going back to the game's description for a moment, I decided to find out if the line I mentioned earlier actually meant anything, and guess what? It didn't. After stacking a few floors, I waited, and the flames began to rise. But then, nothing. The tower didn't burn even more, and it didn't fall over, so why include it in the fucking description? The tower doesn't even fall over when you miss your final floor placement. All that happens is some sort of fiery tornado whips up and there's a huge drop in the game's FPS. After earning 2 stars on the first 2 stages, I needed 1 more star to unlock the third stage, and so I went back to the first stage where the frame rate wasn't as bad and eventually managed to hit 40 points on it. Heading into the third stage, there was more of the same to be found, but this time there was a Viking village theme. In order to unlock the fourth stage, I needed 2 more stars, which meant hitting 60 floors on the first stage, or 40 on the second and third stages. Well, I managed to get it on the third stage without much of a problem, but the second stage was a fucking nightmare. It took me a while, but I was eventually able to unlock the fourth stage, which was another cityscape similar to the first stage, but it was a little better FPS wise, and I managed to get 48 points on this stage on my first try, which now left me needing 2 stars to unlock stage 5. Well, by this time I was bored shitless, and the thoughts of trying to get 60 points on that marble stage just to unlock more of the same shit just made me promptly give up trying altogether, and I quit the game to write this review. So I'll sum up the game so you guys can decide whether or not to buy it. Gameplay is incredibly boring, and it's basically a clone of a 3-year-old mobile game called Stack. The Nintendo eShop listing is a fucking liar. You don't need to keep ahead of any flames and your tower will not burn and fall over. There's also nothing here that'll test your brain or reflexes. The only thing that'll be tested is your fucking patience due to the god awful frame rate on most levels. For what it has to offer, the game is outrageously priced, and it makes you wish that Nintendo had a refund policy. And speaking of Nintendo, this game makes you wonder whatever the fuck happened to Nintendo's seal of quality, and whether or not Nintendo actually give a shit anymore, or if they're planning just going full Google Play Store with the Nintendo eShop. And now for Tower Inferno's rating. I will say no more. You can get the game from the eShop if you fancy pissing your money up the wall, metaphorically speaking of course, for the disgusting price of £6.99. Or if you want a similar experience free from regret, why not download Stack on your mobile phone for free from the Apple or Android mobile stores. That's all for this review of Tower Inferno. If you enjoyed it and I managed to steer you clear of this towering pile of burning shite, then please show your gratitude by hitting the like button. Likewise, if you want to support the channel and be notified of future videos, consider subscribing. Once again, thanks for watching, it's greatly appreciated, and until next time, game on.